Hello, fellow light keepers. I had the pleasure of being a guest on Gut Feelings Unfiltered podcast with functional medicine physicians Dr. Janet Archer and Dr. Melissa Weiss. I first met Jeanette through Kathy Heller's community, and earlier this year, she joined me on episode 41 of The Light Keeper's Path, where she courageously shared her journey after multiple sclerosis entered her life and her approach to healing through functional medicine. In this conversation, we explore my own journey from healing after an autoimmune disease, navigating divorce, and recovering from a second car accident to the profound role of nervous system regulation, mind body healing, resilience, and learning to trust life's unfolding. If you've ever wondered how adversity can become a catalyst for transformation, I hope this conversation leaves you feeling inspired and reminds you that healing is possible even through life's greatest storms. Thank you so much. Let's begin.
Welcome back to Gut Feelings Life Unfiltered. Today, we are so excited to welcome Kimberly Katherine to the podcast. Kimberly is an intuitive healer, a life coach, a Reiki master, and the host of The Light Keeper's Path, a podcast created for sensitives, seekers, and survivors who are navigating life's hardest transitions and learning how to come back home to themselves. Kimberly's story is one of courage, deep healing, and self-reclamation after more than 2 decades in a marriage that slowly pulled her away from herself while also navigating a multiple sclerosis diagnosis she had been managing since 2000. Kimberly reached a point where everything she had built no longer felt like her own life. She made the powerful decision to choose herself. She moved out with her daughter, her dog, and with very little certainty about what would come next. What followed was not an overnight transformation, but a very real healing journey. Therapy, EFT tapping, somatic work, meditation, Reiki, movement, nature, and learning how to listen to her body and her inner guidance in a completely new way. Through this process, Kimberly didn't just become a new version of herself, she began returning to the woman she had been all along. Today, her work helps women move through life transitions, reconnect with their intuition, regulate their nervous system, and remember their own light. We're going to talk about her MS journey, what she has learned through decades of healing, what has been most supportive for her, and I'm so excited. But before I have Kimberly tell us her story, I wanted to say a personal note on how much I have appreciated her, because during the deepest, darkest point of my MS diagnosis, I had just found out that I had MS and posted on Facebook, and the overwhelming messages from everyone was nice, but everyone's got their own opinions and stories that they share with you. And a lot of it can be very overwhelming, where I almost felt like I was in a deep, dark pit. And it's funny because Kimberly's podcast name, she was like a light to me in the darkness. She had reached out and wanted to talk to me. And I knew her through a mutual Kathy Heller, and I knew that her mind was how my mind was, where I didn't want to just take drugs to suppress my immune system. And so I knew she was somebody that had the experience of living the life. She had experienced MS much longer than I had, but also where she was in the future. And I was like, this is a goal that she has done, that it gave me almost the permission that I could also get to where I wanted to, the way I wanted to, because she was doing it already. And so I really had appreciated her reaching out to me and connecting. And it just gave me that umph to get going down the path that I was just questioning everything. Yes. So Kimberly, welcome. And we would
Welcome.
love to hear your story and everything that you've been through.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. What a beautiful introduction. I
And thank you for having me on. It's so nice to meet you, Dr. Mel and Dr. Jeanette. So great to see both of you. I
Yeah.
love that you're both wearing red, my favorite color.
We are.
I have my red glasses on, so there you go. Leopard. Yeah, my story's it's pretty interesting. I'll diverse a little bit. When I was diagnosed, it was May of 2000. And at the time, they had three drugs, ABCs, and then there was a fourth one coming on. And it was very scary. I can always replay that moment. And it was basically get your life. Here's three brochures. If you want to go to other neurologists, go ahead and get your life together. I was
Wow.
like, oh.
Yeah.
So my storm began. And it's interesting because it was pretty stormy. And I made it through. And I was really tested most recently. I want to talk about a recent event because 10 days ago, I was rear ended.
Oh.
And I've been training for a horse retreat to go horseback riding in England. And yeah, I'm so excited. But it really, really triggered me. And it's just so interesting because it just goes to show you that as long as we're still on this plane, that we still have to do the work, no matter how much work. I always talk to my somatic coach and say, am I at the finish line? Am I at the finish line? And she's like, you're still here.
Yeah.
But
That would be the dream, right?
that would be the dream, and I'm a runner, so, that definitely would be a dream. But this accident really took me to a whole 'nother level. I was in traffic and at a stop sign, and then a young gentleman hit me when I was stopped, and
Wow.
my I had my you have to people are so funny. "Did you have your seatbelt on?" Well, of course, yeah,
Yeah.
California. Hello. I've been wearing a seatbelt for 50 years, probably older than both of you. But anyway, long story short is, yeah, I had my seatbelt on, but I had whiplash and I had a light concussion. And it really triggered me because October 1999, I had a really bad car accident. I had a concussion for a year and bad whiplash. And when I got out of that car, I was hit on one side and the other, but the details don't really matter. They were surprised that I walked out of the car. That's how bad it was damaged.
Wow.
It was a 325, not trying to whatever but it was a BMW. So it was in on the right side, 2 to 3 feet, and on the left side, about a foot.
Mm.
So no passenger, thank goodness, because they probably wouldn't have made it.
Oh my
But they
God.
couldn't believe I walked out. And thank goodness I was in a Beamer. But more than that was if anybody's ever had a concussion for a year, it
That's
changed
so
your life.
long.
Yeah, it was a long time. I did, and, then 7 months later, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So the whole trajectory of my life from that car accident completely changed. So
Mm.
that's why I was so triggered 10 days ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?" It
Mm.
really triggered. And I had a lot of fear come up and a lot of overwhelm. And I talked with friends, I reached out to people. And then let's see, it happened on a Monday. And then on a Thursday, I reached out to a crystal Reiki friend of mine. And I said, I don't know what the message is here. I just don't get it. And she said, Kim, you got to go. I'm not getting that it's not, don't go. And she was right. And you know what I did? I did exactly what I did back when I tackled MS. I decided and I made the decision, I'm going to get to the other side. I'm going to go through this storm. I don't care what it takes. And big deal, I have a freaking headache. I don't even care because I am going. And I've been
Mm.
training on horses. I'm not a horse person. I've probably gone 4 times in my life horseback riding.
Wow.
Before this training session, it was at a winery about 15 years ago. You go horseback riding, then you wine taste. And then before that was in LA, where you horseback ride from up to the Hollywood sign and then back down to Mexican restaurant. And
Yeah, I think I've done that. That sounds so
it's
fun.
amazing.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. I want to do that. Yeah.
yeah, I want to do it again. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And and then maybe once when I was 7 as a kid, and I think I got off. I mean, they bucked me off or something. So
Yeah.
it's not like I've been doing a lot of horseback riding. But getting back to the story it was like, okay, now I didn't go horseback riding the day of the accident. I was on my way. I got there. I tacked up my horse, Oreo, and then the trainer came. Excuse me. And my head was starting, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm starting not to feel good. And she goes, I said, I don't know, Vicky. I don't know. I'm kind of not feeling so great. Maybe I should go home. And she said, yeah, Kim, your saddle's on backwards.
Oh, I know. Oh,
So I
no.
said, I was gonna ask you about that. Yeah, I was gonna.
Oh,
So I went home, came home, called the insurance, went to the ER. They were amazing. And they hooked me up with some different stuff and some pain meds. And more than anything is they did some x-rays. I didn't have any, I was just afraid, with whiplash, you don't
yeah.
want anything. But it was amazing when I walked into the x-ray room, when I walked down to it, I said to the gentleman, the technician, I said, Lewis, I was on my way to go horseback riding and this young gentleman hit me. I was really startled. And he goes, oh, yeah. I'm sorry. And then I walk in and I stand there, and to the left, right above the x-ray machine, there's like a painting of a bird. And then when I'm standing, looking directly where you're facing when you're doing x-rays,
Yeah.
there's a mural with birds. Now, I always say, and I even did a whole episode on it, that my favorite radio station is the birds, listening to the birds.
I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
And I said, oh my goodness, universe has my back.
Yeah.
The birds are talking to me. Everything's going to be fine.
Aw.
I know. So that was the first, I call them winks or signs or something. And that was my first message. And then I still needed a bigger one. And my friend said, no, go. So
Yeah.
that Thursday, I said, I'm going to go. And I had already had one acupuncture treatment. I had two more. So I had three that week. And then I did infrared sauna, which is like the red light. And then I have my third acupuncture treatment. I have one today after this. And I went to a Dr. Joe conference, Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I'm in a couple groups with that. I got a coherence healing on Wednesday.
Oh, amazing. I still need to do that.
Let's go to one.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I would love to.
But I mean, if you want to get a coherence healing, yeah.
I want to do both.
Yeah, let's do both. But
Yeah.
I'm probably I think there's going to be one in December. So I'll probably go to that. But it was amazing. I mean, my whole body elevated. And
So for our listeners that don't know about Joe Dispenza, can you give us like a quick little bit about him?
Yeah. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, he basically healed himself. He had a really, really bad, I think he was on a bike, and it was probably at least 20, 30 years ago. And he was a chiropractor, but he made the decision. He said, because they basically said, you're probably not going to walk.
Wow.
And if I'm not getting the details absolutely correct, please don't write nasty comments or do. I've studied him, but I'm not like a super.
Yeah.
I don't get into one person and just.
No.
But he's amazing. So his whole thing is meditation. And I've already talked about the two modalities that have helped me heal. One is acupuncture, and the second is meditation. And I did meditation light. Meditation light is like 5 minutes, something you find on the internet in the morning, and then you move up to 5 minutes at night.
Ah.
You don't go directly to Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
That's meditation heavy.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for a while. So he goes out into the quantum, and you can heal yourself. You can manifest basically anything, but to not go, and he does the quantum physics and the neuroscience, and it's all about rewiring the brain.
Nice.
And it's so powerful. So powerful. And it's like making the decision. And I've talked with some of my clients, and I've said, well, even MSers, you can make that decision. Now, you may not do your 8-minute mile. Maybe you do your 12-minute mile, running. Or maybe it's not that you're going to walk a mile. Maybe it's you're walking around the block. But it's all a mindset. It really, really, really is. And so anyway, that's
wow.
A big part of my healing was first making the decision, acupuncture, meditation.
So what a full circle moment for you of having this car accident
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's just such a wild the universe is very unique and interesting, and it's good that you still looked at it from a place of, "What is this message? Is there a message here?" And then you felt supported by the world, the universe, so it's what a very interesting time in your life right before a very big trip, a very meaningful trip to you. But, I wanna ask you because what I'm interested to know about your life pre-MS. Like, how do you
Mm.
feel like, what does the beginning of that look like? What does pre-MS look like for you?
That's
And
it.
what do you remember about getting that diagnosis? It's kind of it's
Yeah.
a couple part question, but
No, that's fine. Yeah. So I grew up in a rural area in Northern California, very rural. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a stockbroker. And, we're just middle class, have three older sisters. And, just bump along. They were much, much older than I was. And I think just with all of the deep, deep somatic work that I've done, I've learned that as a very young age to not rock the boat. I became a people pleaser.
Mhm.
Um, and I also didn't really realize that I had narcissism in my family. Not my parents. It's interesting. It's usually a parent, but it's an oldest sister, and she's not really any longer in the picture. And it's usually in your family, and that's how you learn that pattern.
Mhm.
And and so to kind of answer your question, it was just kind of, just kind of going through life. And, I was the youngest, so my mom was kind of tired and she just wanted to get me on and out and whatever. So I went to junior college, went to college, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was in the hospitality industry. I loved it. I did it for years. Then I got into tech. And it was interesting because in tech, it definitely did not feed my soul. And I was really, really, really early age tech. I was in telecom, selling internet. How funny is that? Oh my God. Right? I
Yeah,
know.
that's not you.
It's not even that. It's just like, it's just so archaic. Like it
Mm.
doesn't even,
Mhm.
it's so funny, right? Um, and so anyway, I tried to love it, but I didn't love it. And the accident was basically the universe pushing me and saying, wake up. This
Mhm.
is not for you. I was in I think I was 36 when I got hit. And then,
Wow.
yeah. And then I guess maybe I was 35. Yeah. Because when I was diagnosed, I was 36. But my whole world changed with that auto accident and then my diagnosis. And my diagnosis, I was really, really trying to hold on before. I was really, really, I was working remote before remote was even a thing. This was, 1999, 2000.
What do you mean by hold on? What does that mean to you?
So what it was, I was one of the top salespeople on my team, and my sales manager, she knew I had had a car accident, and she said, "That's okay, Kim. You can work from home, or this or that, or let's try and make it work." So I was just trying to hold on to that job
Oh,
because
got it. Okay. Mhm.
I was just holding because I really had no idea what else I would have done, and there was nobody in my life at the time who everybody was scared. Everybody and so, Dr. Jeanette, like, when I reached out to you, I remember all my family members were scared when they heard multiple
Mhm.
sclerosis, everybody around me.
Yeah.
There was nobody that was calm, cool, collective, and on the other side, and I would go to all these dinners and things, and I kept trying to find somebody who was like me, and nobody. They were all wanting the free dinner and the free tchotchkes, and I mean,
Wow.
yeah, it was just heavy and dark and, so yeah, so when that whole thing happened, I was just holding on and my identity changed. That was also I became the person with multiple sclerosis.
Yeah.
And I kind of did this like, "Oh, okay, I guess I have to do this to play that role." Isn't that
The
interesting?
people
Yeah.
pleasing, right? That those
Not just
personality.
not just the people pleasing was kinda behind, but it was part of who I was. It was more just kinda like molding myself to, "Oh, let's see, cognitive." That was my biggest thing was cognitive. "Oh, cognitive. Oh, let's see." 'Cause I remember going to events and people would see numbers and they go, "Oh, I just can't remember the numbers." So they'd be talking about their symptoms, and you're just in this non-healthy, almost toxic environment
Mhm.
of people rehashing what they're going through.
Yeah.
Well, guess
Okay.
what? You rehash that and you're programming your brain right away. It's like saying, "Oh, I'm not smart. I'm not smart. I'm not." Your
Yeah.
brain, that's the whole thing. The mind, it's detaching the mind and the body, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Did I kind of answer your question?
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm thinking about selfishly, I'm thinking about my own traits of these identifiers that we talked about this in other past episodes as well, just how we identify even outside of symptoms, like how we identify ourselves like I am this person. I get
Yes.
lost all the time. I'm bad at navigation. I'm whatever.
Right.
And like even Dr. Jen and I were working today and I was like, my memory. I don't understand. And I
I
was almost like, "Oh, thank God," because I was thinking MS
Yeah.
for me. And I'm like, "Why can't we remember?" And then we're, like, feeding each other this and it is toxic. It is also sometimes just life, but, like, it's
Yes.
I just started thinking about the things and then thinking about other people, how they have these identifiers of themselves. So, I like that you pointed it out.
Yeah. And you know what's another interesting take? I just kind of had this little message come to me, which is, and I've integrated this, maybe we're not remembering for a reason.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that we're shutting it out because of trauma and we want to push it away. Maybe we're not remembering it because it's not important. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Oh my god,
Mm,
I just got, like,
right?
shivers, like
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
almost like we're it's actually a gift, if that
yeah.
makes sense.
Okay.
Or we're not remembering it because it's minutia and it's not important.
Right.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Kinda
Yeah.
like, "Oop, okay, whatever, yeah."
I like that, and
That's
then I
it.
hear my ego being like, "Oh, no, you're" So being aware of
Right?
that ego over there is
Yeah,
interesting too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So
okay. No, I know I like that because I think about the space that I have and the priorities that I have now are different than when I was in my 20s. So I could remember, like, from a chiropractic standpoint with patients, I could remember, like, what this patient's Aunt Susie had for dinner. I could remember all these things, but now I'm like, how come I can't remember? But I really don't need to remember that. It's true.
right. So the other thing I've learned is, so running, when I came back to myself 3 years ago, I chose me, and I said, "I'm gonna start running again." And, that was another when you're talking about modalities to get me through, and that was
Yeah.
the last of the healing, the deep, deep, but and then somatic healing, EFT tapping, which was amazing, and
Okay.
it's not like meditation light, like somatic light, but it is.
Yeah.
Because the stuff I've been doing for 17 months, in fact, I just signed up for another 5-pack because I can't get enough. It was after the accident. I'm like, "Okay, I got
Of what? Of the tapping or of
no,
the
this deep somatic
deep
transformational."
subtract? Okay. And what can you tell us
So,
who is
yeah,
that?
yeah, this is Christy Ingleton. She's
Okay.
amazing. She is a transformational coach, and she's, like, got all the certifications, and she's got the life experience, and she's done it for herself.
Okay.
And what I've learned with working through her is that when you're talking about, your vessel, we're just basically in a vessel, right? And we have all this stuff that comes in. We have these experiences. And if these experiences are emotions that are maybe heavy or this or that or people pleaser, they stay in our body. That's trauma that stays in
Mhm.
our body. And until we get that out, and usually what happens is we have an experience, it goes into our body because we clam up because we're a kid and we don't think we can express it. Or we're in a business meeting and we're 40 years old and we're like, if I really tell that woman what she thinks, I'm probably not going to get the job. Or she's
Yeah.
not going to be my patient. So I
Mhm.
better just shut up. But she's offended me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or whatever, or
Yeah.
whatever the misunderstanding, it stays in your body. Now, when you do the somatic transformational work, you go into the subconscious, you reprogram it, and it gets out of your body. Now,
Mhm.
the reason I say that is because your vessel becomes empty and it can handle more. And I can tell you right now, 3 years ago, when I moved here with my daughter and my dog, and I didn't know what was going to happen, my nervous system was a wreck. I couldn't handle much in my vessel. Yeah, it was a disaster, and just had to kind of ease into the last of the healing piece. But so I say that because when you're saying you have patients who I can't remember what they had for dinner or this or that, you've had a lot more life. You're probably, I don't know how old you are, but I would imagine at least 10, 12, 15
40,
years.
42.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you look amazing. So
Thanks.
you have 20 more years of life in you
Yeah.
and experiences in your vessel that are in there that are latent or whatever. And it's not all bad, but it can be as simple as, you go to the grocery store and somebody, I don't know, you see a package or something and it triggers you. And usually the trigger is not what you think it is. Isn't that so?
It's so true.
Yeah. Isn't it so crazy?
It's so crazy.
So, for example, I was feeling that the auto acts, this most recent one, I was feeling overwhelmed because there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah.
I'm hiring a personal car to take me from where I live to this SFO. It's not quick,
What's an SFO?
San Francisco International
Oh, there.
Airport
Oh, okay.
for my trip. And it's a big deal. I just want it to be easy.
Yeah.
And when I get there, I gotta go through the airport and the passports and the this, and there's always something changing, right? And then all the people. And I haven't been to Europe for 24 years. It's a long time that
Yeah.
things change, right? They've had the Brexit, they've had the this, the
Mhm.
COVID, the 9/11. I mean, you name it, they've had it, right? The heat wave, the non heat wave, the
Yeah.
cold. What else is there, right? And then I'm moving a lot. I'm going from London 2 nights to down to Fowey, which is southeast,
Mhm.
and then I'm going to my retreat, and then I'm going Glastonbury, and then I'm going back to London. So I've got like 5 different lot of moving.
Yeah.
Solo,
Wow,
you know,
good for you.
yeah, pilgrimage. So I started to feel some overwhelm, and we worked it through with my somatic coach, and it went back to when I was really young and feeling overwhelmed when, a situation would happen and nothing bad. It just, as a kid, I thought that how I handled the situation was to freeze
Mhm.
because I was feeling overwhelmed. And what you do is when you go into the subconscious, you go back to that situation and then you feel it and it's scary and you go through it and your current self is there to support your younger self. For me, it was like, I think I was 5 or 6. And when you're going through that whole process, it's safe and, you have all this, you have all these, you have, it's set up so it's not scary. I mean, it is scary to go in and re-feel those feelings. But my point is, who would have thought overwhelmed from travel? You would just think it was that at a surface level, but it was kind of really deep. Does that make sense? Or
Totally. Now, what do you think? Okay, just because we're human, right? And we're
yeah,
being a human has its challenges. And
right.
do you ever feel like, because you said something about like having surprises, like the triggers being surprising. Is there
Yeah.
ever a point, and maybe we talked about this already, but
Oh,
like where you're just like, it's just so weird how the things come up and you're like, how did that? I thought I was over that. Or I thought, I talked to my therapist about it, or I haven't thought about that in 30 years. I mean, can you talk about, I guess, just
absolutely.
more
Yeah.
about that? Because I think
Yeah.
our listeners, like, just the clarification of why we get these triggers and what is going on with us.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's so valid. And I would say that for me, when I started this work and it was EFT tapping, like I said, and EFT tapping is you do like this and you talk about and you say little mantras and you go through the 7 points. And then the meditation and did the deep somatic work with the current transformational coach. So when I started, I was in fight or flight all the time. I came from a situation where I was woken up for 2.5 years, 2 to 3 times a night. I didn't sleep through a night.
Wow.
So my nervous system was not even at baseline. Now, so in the beginning, it was just getting me to it was choosing me, and then it was getting my nervous system to baseline. It doesn't happen overnight. And then when I started to get it to baseline, and it wasn't just always like this, it was doing the deeper level. Because like with anything, and I'm sure both of you know when you do your work, you're not going to go in deep and,
Yeah.
excavate the cavity right away. You're going to start to, let's clean the teeth. Let's see what's going on.
Mhm.
So to kind of answer, it really depends on where you are. And I've had that same question, but I have to tell you, with this deep, deep work I've done for so long, I don't really have that many triggers anymore.
Mm.
I really honestly don't. After my session on Sunday, which was like, let's see, Thursday, Friday, it was like 3 or 4 days after my questioning, and I made the decision, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this trip. I I was pretty exhausted, because you're pretty exhausted after, because you're moving energy, you're moving cells. And the next day, I felt amazing. I
Mm.
felt so light, so light. In fact, my whole body felt better too. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So it was also healing to my body. Not obviously it was healing to my body, but
Yeah.
what had happened, like the whiplash and the, little light concussion. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Does that
That
kind of answer your
It
question?
does, because I think, a lot of our listeners and our patients are like, "Oh, does it ever end? And it does it, what does this look like in a couple years?" Like that lack of hope, that lack of, I don't know.
I mean,
And I
you know,
know
I
from my own personal story, not so I lost my husband 4 years ago while I was pregnant, and I am a completely different person, and I've done a lot of different techniques, a lot of different ways of rewiring my brain.
yeah.
And I can say it to patients and people, like, it does get easier. You're not as triggered. It's not as so sensitive on the surface of your skin where you just a little bit, it's like, ouch. But I like to hear the perspective of other practitioners on, does it, to give people hope, to know that it's not always this hard.
And also I would just kind of say too that it's not one thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I mean, Dr. Jeanette was so helpful and gave me recommendations for D3 and supplements and all that stuff, and that's so great. And in the beginning of my MS journey, I did that. And I was strict on my diet. I've done every strict diet, not to lose weight, just for like inflammation
Yeah.
Yeah.
standpoint. And different, my acupuncturist, he got me on a very strict diet at one point. So that is good, as we know, but you have to do other things also,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. I think,
And
yeah, I would love to hear more of your MS story, your like the symptoms that you had over the years, and like what you had found that maybe would flare your symptoms, and what kind of seemed to, you've done like so many different treatments and therapies. What all, I know it's a multiple things together, obviously, but what things kind of helped move the needle for you?
absolutely. And Dr. Mel first, did that answer your question?
It did,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So I would say with your patients, just bring something else into the mix. And it could be as simple as play. When was the
Mhm.
last time our patients played?
I know.
Yeah.
That's what Dr. Jed and I talk about all the time, that it's a prescription. Like, fun is
Yes.
a requirement.
Fun is a requirement. And then going back to MS, so symptoms. So I had it, yeah, I had vertigo 3 different times, anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks at a time. It was, I hope you haven't, or I hope you don't get it,
Yeah.
but it's not fun.
Yeah.
Everything's mean.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. And let's see, I would have things on my left side. And from a body, or, somebody would say, oh, that's the male, or I don't even know, male, female, what the left side represents. But anyway, I would get things on my left side. I would get numbness, tingling. I had double vision
Wow.
in my eye. Yeah, or eyes. I don't remember what they call that, something with the double vision. And yeah, numbness, tingling down my leg, cognitive, lot of cognitive stuff,
Okay.
confused, focus, concentration, all that kind of stuff. So unable to walk once or twice.
Wow.
So yeah, and the overriding fatigue, just exhausted,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
overwhelmed and exhausted. What was the trigger? Stress.
Yep. That's what I found too.
Mm.
Yeah.
What was did you have stressors at that time? Like, was there specific stressors like family or whatever? Like, what was for you?
Yeah.
What was it?
So the triggers were stress and not being my authentic self.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Yeah.
And it could be as simple as wanting to wear this fun sweater, but needing to wear the navy blue Talbots sweater. Sorry,
Yeah.
Talbots, but you know what I mean.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like and honestly, before we got on, Jen and I were talking about authenticity. I feel like that is the word of of the year of my life. I feel like to when you're living authentically, the life just flows.
And even tying it into, like autoimmune conditions,
Yes.
when
Yeah,
you are not living from your authentic self, like what it does to your nervous system, which then triggers your immune system, which then can lead to some of these autoimmune conditions.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
Exactly. So,
fascinating.
so the stressors were, I mean, that work where I was in telecom, it was toxic. It wasn't really, I love sales. I mean, I was in sales. I was a top salesperson, but it wasn't, it was kind of it wasn't it was cutthroat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was nasty.
Sales are hard because you're only as good as your, what do they say?
Last
You're only as
sale.
good as your, the
Yeah.
next sale or something. I
Your
don't know.
last,
The
you're
last
only
sale.
good. You're only as good as your last sale.
Wow.
And
Yeah. And then
yeah.
it's
I
done.
mean, I went to President's Club a couple times. I had some great trips, but then you're at the end of the trip and you're like, you almost get a pit in your stomach because you're like,
Yeah.
I gotta start over again.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So hopefully you sandbag, and when you sandbag, it's like you have done deals that are just in your back pocket
Yeah.
that you
But
pull
that's the
out
situation.
when you get back.
Mm-mm.
Oh, my
I know,
God.
not sales is a certain personality type. I
It is.
think that's okay with that. I want to, I kind of want to talk about your podcast too. I
Yeah.
want to hear about who you speak to, who's the base that you speak to, and
Yeah.
the people that are you're helping out there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's so funny because I just had my 1 year anniversary about 2 weeks ago.
Hey, congratulations.
Congrats.
We are like anniversary twins over here.
Yeah, we just had our 1 year too.
Oh, congratulations. That's so awesome. And it's funny, when I first started, I was still going through the storm, still going through it. And so I was like, I hadn't worked for 25 years. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to use Zoom like a year before that. I didn't know how to do anything. I
Oh my
know,
God.
right? Isn't that
Yeah.
so
That's
crazy? Self-taught.
yes.
Yes.
So in the beginning, I didn't really have guests. It was just, hey, this is my story. I went through this. Well, I thought I was through the storm, but I wasn't. I was still in it. I'm here to find your inner light, which, but it's good to it's fun to go back and reflect. And so who is my target audience are people who I wasn't quite sure if it was just going to be MSers. And I thought, I don't think so. I think it's going to be all people who are going through the storm and they're going through the thick of it. And I'm going to help them find that inner light. And, the inner light, it can be dim at first and it's going to be okay. I'm going to make it through. I'm going to make it through today. I'm going to make it through 1 hour. And so in the beginning, I really did just little snippet things of meditation, journal, get some fresh breath air, just simple kind of things.
Mhm.
And then it's interesting because after my auto accident, my 1 year anniversary, and then that recent auto accident, I get people coming to me all the time soliciting to be on my show. Isn't that wild?
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know.
Interesting.
I had last week. I had 6 people in like 25 hours.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Is that amazing?
it is
yeah.
amazing.
I know. And I had one gentleman, so beautiful, Tal Gurr. I think I'm probably going to have him on my podcast. He has, I think it's called, oh gosh, I should know. Anyway, he has this platform and he recommends books and he recommends and he has a whole recommendation of my podcast on his.
Oh,
That's amazing.
I know. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not super I like his description. It's perfect because it's not just all spiritual woo woo. I mean, I incorporate that because that's a little bit who I am, but I'm not all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then healing modalities, but I feel like it's pretty grounded because of my path of what I've done. And when you're going through it, I would find answers or something and it would be like, oh, this is it. I found it. This is it. And then I'd be all, yeah. And then it's like, no, there's other things too. Or
And,
it doesn't serve all the time, darn it. Okay.
and you
Or-
also work with clients one on one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do everything over Zoom. So I'll do, just not just, I'll do a one or we can do a package and have like an end goal. Yeah.
So, what does that look like for clients wanting to work with you?
So basically it kind of depends. I'm a Reiki master. Oh, well, yeah, that's right. I became a Reiki master in 1999. Forgot about that part.
Oh,
And so long.
yes.
And I've practiced ever since. I would give it to family members and I've done distance healing since 1999. So it's
Wow.
kind of funny that, it's a thing now, which is great and beautiful. But
Yeah.
all of mine is distance. So I can do Reiki healings, distance and or intuitive coaching. So it's basically I'm high intuitive and we can just go through and stream it down and put some goals together. Or sometimes it's just simply meeting like a conversation, kind of like I did with my friend about my trip. Now,
Yeah.
I can definitely do it for others, but sometimes doing it for yourself on something like that where there's high emotion, it's a little tricky to do.
Yeah.
Make-
Amazing. And for somebody newly diagnosed with MS or any other autoimmune condition at that, what would you wish that someone had told you that you never got and you had to figure it out yourself?
Oh, I would say that the power is within you.
Mhm.
You have the choice.
Yeah.
And just, reach out to find out your support and reach out and try everything. And I'm not talking about the drugs. I did try the drugs, but try everything. I mean, I think one of the most beneficial things for MS people and people in general is Tai Chi.
Love Tai Chi.
I love Tai
Love
Chi.
it.
Oh, it's so grounding. And you can do it sitting also. They have, or yoga.
Amazing.
Yoga's kind of interesting because I think it's probably in the last 20 years gotten so shishi. So you can go into a class and it can be very intimidating. Although with the MS groups, they have like chair yoga and it's not.
Okay.
But yeah, I would just say be gentle on yourself, be loving and kind and it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great and you're going to get through it, and reach out for help. And you might find that your circle of support is not going to be who you think it's going to be. In
Wow.
fact, probably not. When I
Interesting.
mean that, like your family and your current friend group. And it could
Yeah.
be, but maybe not.
Do you think that's because of the learned systems that are in place, especially with your family, right? Like they're the people that you developed these kind of patterns with that sometimes can be
Right.
toxic or not as supportive as you think, or not what you thought it was. And then when you have this chronic illness, it's like, I don't know. What do you, is that what
Well,
you mean by that?
if they've done deep work, and I used to think, what does deep work mean?
Yeah.
Well, deep work means going and healing the inner child and all of the misunderstood messages that you
Yeah.
receive. And if your family's done that, then you're fine and you're friends. But haven't you ever noticed when you change a behavior that your friends change and everything changes? I have.
Oh,
When let's say for example, you lose weight or you all of a sudden start to do something, you're because your vibration changes.
mm,
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like my
100%.
my people who I'm not in contact with many, and it's not because my vibrations changed. It's just
Yeah.
completely changed. So they don't even come into my life. Does that?
Thank you for pointing that out because sometimes it's hard when we're like, why are we not, why have things changed with that person? Or why am I not wanting to spend time with them? Or why things feel different? And the kind of codependent in me is like, Oh, I need to make it work. It's like, but it's
Oh,
true. When you start doing that inner deep work, things just fall into place where they need to be, especially with your relationships. So I agree, but you put it into such
Yeah,
more
I like
beautiful
that
words.
term that your vibration has changed because that like
Yes.
feels good. It's like it's not their fault. It's
No.
not your vibration has changed.
Yes.
I like that.
well, haven't you ever known that girlfriend and she has a nasty boyfriend and then she finally breaks up and everybody's like, yeah. And then
Yeah.
3 months later, 2 months later, she gets the same kind of nasty
Yeah.
boyfriend.
Every
And
time.
then it just keeps happening
Oh yeah.
because she's in that cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no blame on her, just needs to go and figure out why keeps attracting that
Mhm.
same thing.
Yeah.
There is the perfect example. And shout out to Kathy Heller because I love this example. I don't know if you ever heard this. She has so many stories, but one of them is when you go into, because she was in music before, you go into a
Mm.
guitar store and you do a certain, I can't even think of it,
No, the G string.
the G string. All of the other guitars do the same. Whatever
Same
note you do,
vibration.
Right. Yeah.
It's so
right?
cool. Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, haven't you ever noticed, like I'm with all this deep work I'm doing, I feel so good and just kind of zen. I still have a little slight headache and a little slight in my neck, but I'm not worried about it. It'll all be fine. But last night, my daughter and I, we went to dinner and we've been to this place many, many, many times. We love it. But I just noticed, I'm like, God, there's people here. And yeah, they're walking around, but it feels so zen in here. It just feels like we're all on the same zen,
Love
Yeah.
that.
just
Mhm.
It's
and all,
yeah, and I do feel like the nervous system is a part of that, where
oh, it
when you
is.
have that nervous system and you co-regulate with other
Yes,
people. Yeah.
that's exactly it. And when you do this work, because I would say to my coach, I'd say, hey, okay, I'll do another package, but I just want to know if I do this package, does it help my daughter and like my family? And she goes, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So when you do this deep work, it affects 7 generations ahead,
Yeah.
7 generations below.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like
It's
that.
Isn't that
amazing.
wild?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
just undoing that generational trauma,
Yes.
That's
ancestral
it.
trauma.
And
Yes.
well, trauma, I know.
Yeah.
It's all kind of coming like, oh, I get it now. Oh, I
I
understand.
love
Isn't that
that.
wild?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it really is true because I've noticed with family members. Yeah.
And to
Oh,
know that you are the conduit of those 7 generations in front and behind you is, like, so powerful.
it is so powerful, right?
Yeah.
And there's no ego involved because I'm doing it because I wanted to.
Yeah.
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 But what a nice benefit for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to pay.
Yeah.
Bill.
I
They're getting
know.
a deal.
They are.
All the tears. Right?
So true.
We're the ones with all the tears.
Yep.
Or the ones with all the tears.
Oh,
my
well, thank you
God.
this has been such a great experience to talk to you.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'm sure we could talk forever because you have so
Yeah.
many beautiful
Yeah.
stories, and I think you're going to help so many. You already have helped so many people with your experience and your life story, and then I can't wait to hear about your trip when you get back.
I
Yes.
can't wait. I'm going to Glastonbury. In fact, my crystal Reiki lady, I'm going to get a treatment with her today. I got to
Oh,
go.
get
Yay.
She's
to
the
it.
one who told me about it. I'm going to
Okay.
Glastonbury, which is the heart chakra of the world. Isn't it?
Ooh,
I know.
Yes.
Rebecca Campbell, if you're familiar
yeah,
with her. Yeah,
love her.
Amazing.
it's there. Yeah.
So much.
Is that where
She,
she
she does retreats there.
Oh, are you doing her retreat?
No, I'm not doing a
Oh,
retreat.
okay.
I'm scoping it out and I'll be definitely going back.
Okay, cool.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
on and talking to us.
absolutely. So
And is
fun.
there one thing that you would like to leave our audience with that we have not asked you yet?
Um, no, I would just say that if it's really, really dim and it's really having a tough time, and I've been there, I would recommend taking a hand, putting it on your heart, closing your eyes, and just breathing. Just breathe. Just
Yes.
breathe.
We
Mhm.
forget to breathe,
We
guys.
do. And
Yeah,
yep.
I love
just
that.
breathe. And then your next step is maybe take a pen and journal. And you don't have to buy a fancy journal. You can use a spiral notebook from one of your kids that wasn't used
Yeah.
or, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Amazing. Well, guys, we will drop all of Kimberly's links in the show notes and you can reach out to her. And I think she's giving you guys a nice freebie. So until next time, have a good one, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.